these are such strong, courageous people. But when you hear of some of the things that have happened to them, the car totaled by a drunk driver, finally buying their first home and then losing their job, and on top of that, being diagnosed with stage 4 cancer. That has been very difficult. And sometimes after a conversation with some of the applicants, it takes me a few minutes to regroup.
A young mother whose husband had committed suicide, leaving her with 4 children. And her eldest had recently attempted suicide. And she included some pictures in her letter. And it was just so sad reading the trauma and the effects on the family.
Coming back empty-handed or not being able to offer a specific solution is probably the hardest part of being a research volunteer.
The hardest part is that, with Google and research, sometimes there's too much information. So it's like, how do you pare it down? Sometimes it's like looking for a needle in a haystack. So you have to kind of, weasel and diesel until you can find exactly what it is you're looking for. And sometimes there isn't anything that's specifically what you're looking for, but you do the best you can.
The hardest part of my role as a program officer was when, after working with a constituent and getting close to the end of the process, the constituent withdrew their application. And so when the case ended without us being able to help, that was really difficult. Sometimes I couldn't stop thinking about the constituent for a long time at all hours of the day. I'd go to sleep thinking about the person, and I would wake up and that would be the first thing I would think about. So that was the most difficult part of the job.
A letter that was beautifully written that talked about a young woman. She spoke about her recovery, about a life of abuse and bad decisions and bad relationships, and how she was getting herself together, and she was writing to us for help with a sober house and rent for a sober house. And when we got the letter, we all said, great, let's do this. And when we called, we found that she had OD'd and died. There are a lot of things intellectually, but this hit my gut, how fragile recovery is, how fragile life is. And it made me take what I was doing. It made me step back and go, you need to be more serious about this. You need to put more in. And that was important. And I actually kept that woman's obituary on my laptop, on my iPad for the rest of the time at Letters, as a reminder of how serious what we were doing was and what it meant to people.
This is people who need random things right now, and it's really satisfying to just be a part of that. And I don't think no one else is really doing that work on an individual level of saying, what do you need to get through the day or to get through this right now?
The most satisfying part working with the apparitions volunteers and work was hearing the stories of a letter in the beginning we first opened, or that one of my peers opened, and created an application for the applicant. And then it's the end, and it's hearing that they received a grant and the foundation was able to help them.
You'd be wondering in the middle how they're doing, especially when the winter comes, and the one that needed funds for a heater for her household with 5 kids, of which 3 are disabled, and they're way up in the woods of Maine, and you wonder how they're making it. Because it's not like we're an emergency grantor. We can't just stop what we're doing and hand the money right away. But they come through it. I just find that human resilience part to be quite amazing.
This has really been a great experience for me as an immigrant and a new person in the United States. This has really been, eye-opening for me in a way that I don't take things for granted.
Just being able to hear the different stories and knowing that you were able to help somebody get the resource that they need, that is definitely the best part.
The fact that some of them would just break out in tears, not even getting the grant, just hearing from us, just someone heard what I had to say, was quite remarkable to me. So I think the first thing that was the best part was just giving people a sense that they'd been heard. So I think that's the best part.